any kind of material like related to the Grail literature material, even the poster of conference proceeding, when we store and you store in the repository, the index is very massive. Okay. Right. You can send to us any kind of material to keep it in the institutional repository through the e-form, through the emails, and the latest one through the Telegram. As you can see here, we have a Telegram group, and you can submit PDF file, image file to this Telegram, and we will help you to index. The librarian will help you index your material to the Google Scholar. Alright, so next one is advantages. So again, they will index on the especially Google Scholar. As you can see here, they complement each other from other websites, especially from the journal websites. If you send to us the material, the conference proceeding papers, the journal article that's available open access, when we put on the institutional repository, still support each other, and when something happen to one of the websites, still have backup, and other people still can download the PDF and read the article, cite the paper, and then having a citation there. Right, next one, this when you use store again another repository, they will also index on the core.ac.uk, one massive aggregator website that's under project of higher educations of United Kingdom. Then this largest open access aggregator help you a better viewer for people who are based in the United Kingdom as well as Commonwealth countries, right? So they get large information. As you can see here, when the index on Google, like this one, magazine, okay, magazine here, they receive a high viewer from people who are based in the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth countries. When you keep also the store also your materials on the registration repository, they will be indexed also in the EBSCO Discovery Services. Okay. Next one is the trustworthy web repository services. So whenever you use the repository services, be careful in terms of the practices of the people who are manage the repository, whether they are managed by the people who understand about the FAIR principle, the FAIR philosophy, which is findable, accessible, interviewable, and reusable. And they also highlight the tagline as open as possible, as close as necessary, yeah? Which means you can put it restricted in certain pages or certain data, or you can openly to give any people to access the material. Okay, and you have to understand whether this repository services is apply a good follow metadata standard. Quite ICT terms here, but the simple things is that when you go to the Google Scholar, you have to understand that this repository services is follow setup of the field of the PDF file accordingly to the certain for the specific rules, like author's name, publication name, volume, and so on. And they're having a good security, especially in terms of single sign-on. You can, when you use the repository services, you will see the private policy and cookies policy. And if the repository services is not listed any kind of the platform like Google Scholar, you have to be careful when you use it. Okay, this is example for indexer for research data. Nowadays, when you want to share the data, because the policy based from the journal, so make sure when you use any repository to share the data, it is indexed through this platform, re3data.org. Last one, the lens of org. This is impact whenever you share again. Lens.org is based on Australia. Many people in Australia using this kind of platforms. Many researchers use this kind of platform to retrieve the material. So if you are having a conference papers, again, case studies, and want to share anything to them, you can use this kind of platform. That's all for me. Thank you very much. Open to question.
Ribuan terima kasih diucapkan kepada Encik Muhammad Akmal Ahmad di atas perkongsian ilmu dan maklumat sebentar tadi. Saya percaya kita telah mendapat ilmu yang bermanfaat daripada sesi ketiga ini. Para hadirin sekalian, kita ke sesi soal jawab. Sekiranya ada soalan yang untuk diajukan kepada Encik Muhammad Akmal, dipersilakan. Ada soalan ke?
Video. Oh, sorry. Video.
Oh, ada video untuk
ada video
ditayangkan.
for promotion. Okay. Silakan. So we'll see the video on how the repository services have been given, especially for institutional repository, USM repository, giving impact to our lectures. So watch the video.
Like a few days after I submitted my works to the repository.
Back. Mana? Duplicate. Okay. Okay.
Like a few days after I submitted my works to the repository, I realized that my Google Scholar will start to list those materials on my Google Scholar profile.
I get the opportunity to consolidate my publication and research under one roof, which make it easier for anyone to access.
Very useful, especially for public, to read more about Malaysian art. It is made more accessible in terms of visibility.
Saya memang menyokong sepenuhnya lah supaya USM punya pensyarah yang mana hasil kerja mereka tidak dapat dicapai melalui Scopus atau Web of Science tu, kita gunakan platform repository untuk kita dapatkan tingkatkan citation, untuk kita war-warkan kepada orang luar yang ini adalah research kita.
In my opinion, all staff should consider deposit their publication at repository USM. I personally felt that repository provided a method of sharing content, which I think is important with different audience. Visibility of the research you can see very well and shows the area of research expertise, higher citation index.
Once we share our research outputs through the repository, then it is more accessible to the public.
Like one-stop center and it's stable. We store all publication and research items and accessible at any time. To me, library repository readers, advisors' choices should be like Netflix, where everything within your fingertips.
Okay, itu saja.
Okay, thank you very much. So, any questions from here? Okay, Puan Husriati, dipersilakan.
Yes, one, two.
Hello, Mr. Kamal. Mr. Akmal, sorry. Akmal, ya? Okay, for your opinion, which one is the best action? Deposit item to the university repository or deposit item to public repository like Zenodo, ResearchGate and etc. And why?
Okay.
Thank you.
First of all, you have to know your audience. You have to know your colleague, which party that they go, and macam itulah. Whether is most of based on the European countries, United States, and then another one is Asia Oceania. So if you looking for Asia Oceania impact, the priority will be our institutional repository itself, because networking or the indexer usually for Asia Pacific is very visible lah. But for me, we need all actually, so that they can be complement each other in terms of visibilities. I only using my Learn Society repositories, institutional repositories, and then ResearchGate. 3 different repository. Then suddenly my citations of the papers on year 2019 suddenly giving impact. Okay, so this article is not listed in Scopus and so on. Just using the repositories, I want to show as evidence based to the people who inquiry or not motivate because they not successfully published in the high impact journal. So when I try and ever to use this kind of repository, which is I actually publish a traditional journal based in Malaysia, but this traditional journal in Malaysia is not accepted by Scopus being indexed, but still have I using the repository to make it more impact to the audience that I said. For example, I want to maybe impact the audience to the European country. I'm using my institutional repository plus with the Learn Society libraryships repository that based in Spain. Then I receive first citation from I think from the mana negara tu, Denmark kot, from the Denmark country, which is the student is Iranian student lah that study there. The first in that first citation in 2019, and then when I go to ResearchGate, suddenly people or researcher based from the African country giving a massive feedback, especially in terms of citations. Okay, so know your audience, know your impact, where do you want to go. Use the repository as the motivational tools to get citation impact. Okay, so for those who are feel burdened to publish, to select a journal that index in Scopus, Sandai or whatsoever, do not worry, we have another alternative, which is using the repository services. That's all for my answer. Wah, ada lagi soalan?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Besar dengan library. So, in that one, this one is got one question. Contributions or researchers, they are very skeptical about to deposit their research work to the USM repository or another platform lah. Because they said that research is kind of race. So, for example, you just collect the data for what type of research, but another one, suddenly another one, they just publish that research. That's why they are afraid of sharing their data. So, how do you balance this one? How do you convince them to deposit the research data to the USM repository or another repositories? Thank you.
Okay. First of all, we do have to understand as a librarian, researchers doing research based from their own money, grant, or through industry. So our aim is helping researcher in sharing in terms of using the public fund, public money, the taxpayer money. So that's the first thing. Another optional is their own money. If they feel they want to get inclusive impact, then they can share the data lah. But the priority going back to the public money. Although they are using the public money, some restrictions due to the patent, due to the potential industrial collaborations or UCAS project, which is public-private partnership project, we still have to advise them to think deeply whether they want to share the data lah. So again, we promote and give consultations and understanding dia macam memahami mereka dalam melaksana, understanding them that when you do the research in what kind of cost, what kind of target, then they can share the data lah. So actually sharing the data came from the needs to show you are doing the research in the right way, to show you are equitable, you are having an integrity doing that kind of research. This trend to sharing data base came from the exposure from the fake research, especially from people are doing research like clone research. One of the researchers that give impact until they appoint that this researcher as the speaker on the TED talk, suddenly someone else are giving evidence base that they are doing a fake research on the clone. This researcher claim that they are successfully doing human clone research, but another researcher who are more experts expose it because the data is fake and so on. So it's not a human clone, it's actually the kambing clone, kambing in sheep clone lah. Okay, so from that kind of incident, the trend of sharing data is hip lah amongst the people, especially based in the European countries. Okay, that's my question. That's my answer.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada semua yang bertanyakan soalan. Jika tiada soalan lagi, kita sampailah ke penghujung sesi ketiga. Sebagai tanda penghargaan, pihak Perpustakaan Universiti Sains Malaysia ingin menjemput Yang Berusaha Puan Arinawati Ayub, Timbalan Ketua Pustakawan Kanan Perpustakaan Universiti Sains Malaysia, bagi menyampaikan cenderahati kepada penceramah kita kali ini. Majlis mempersilakan.
Terima kasih Puan.
Terima kasih for
Sama-sama.
sharing.
Baik. Okey, terima kasih Puan. Sama-sama.
Terima kasih diucapkan. Sebelum kita bersurai, diminta semua hadirin untuk mengisi borang penilaian secara dalam talian dan scan kod QR untuk mata CPD. CPD akan dibuka sehingga jam 6 petang sahaja. Pihak kami ingin memohon maaf atas segala kekurangan sepanjang mengendalikan sesi pada hari ini. Sesungguhnya yang baik itu adalah daripada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala dan yang kekurangan itu adalah kelemahan kami sendiri. Saya akhiri dengan ucapan wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.